Welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look at just two short verses from a really ancient poem. But hidden inside them is this incredibly profound message, a story about suffering, about salvation, and really about the true nature of love. So, to get started, I want you to think about a time you felt deep sorrow, but maybe not like this. I mean a sorrow that's so overwhelming, so totally all-consuming, that it literally feels like you're drowning in it. These are the words of King David from the Hebrew Bible, and this raw, completely unfiltered cry of anguish, well, it's going to be the foundation for everything we talk about today. Okay, so first up, a king's overwhelming sorrow. Let's really dig into the sheer intensity of this pain. I mean, what is David actually trying to tell us with such dramatic, over-the-top language? Well, you gotta understand that phrases like flooding my bed with tears are a classic literary device called hyperbole. The point isn't that his bed is literally floating away, right? The point is to give us a picture of an unimaginable level of anguish. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this cry isn't just about one thing. It's really about three distinct states of being. It's honest emotion, for sure, but it's also about a feeling of utter helplessness. And finally, a complete and total exhaustion of body and soul. In these verses, he's not the mighty king we often picture. He's a man who has hit a wall, he's at the absolute end of his own strength. He's admitting, I've got no solutions, no strategies left. He is just utterly defeated by whatever's happening to him. So that brings us to our next section, a cry directed to God. And this is a really crucial detail. See, David isn't just crying into his pillow. Who he's crying to, well, that changes everything. And this is the whole key. This isn't just David venting, getting it all out. Every tear, every single moan is a direct communication. It's a prayer, and it's aimed squarely at God. And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. You've got these two famous kings. When a crisis hits, King Saul, he almost always turned to people for help, to human wisdom and power. But David, even his absolute darkest moment, he consistently turns to God. And this is what his prayer really boils down to. He knows his only hope isn't just for his circumstances to change. No, his only hope is a direct act of love and mercy from God. He's saying that is the only thing that can save him. Now, this is where the analysis takes a really fascinating pivot. Because the idea here is that David's ancient words, they aren't just about his own personal suffering. They actually echo in a much bigger, much more profound story. And it makes you ask a powerful question. As intense as David's pain clearly is it the most profound suffering in the entire Bible? The thinking here is that his experience actually serves as a kind of framework, a language even, to help us understand a sorrow that's even greater. So let's bring those words back to mind. Just picture it. That total physical and emotional exhaustion, the weariness, the blurred vision from crying so much. Now, listen to that same depth of agony, but this time in the words of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, right before his crucifixion. The Gospels describe this moment with a lot of restraint, but that echo of David's psalm, it's unmistakable. So what does that all mean? It means David's very raw, very human poem, it becomes a kind of divine lens for us. It gives us a way to understand the emotional reality, the sheer weight of what Jesus was experiencing in that moment. And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the God who weeps for us. This is where we try to understand the purpose behind this divine suffering. I mean, why would God himself experience this? This table really clarifies the biggest distinction. On one side, you have David. We don't know the exact cause of his pain, but whatever it was, he was suffering for himself. Jesus, on the other hand, he suffered vicariously. He suffered as a substitute for others. And let's be super clear about who those others are. He wasn't just suffering because of his enemies. The argument is he was suffering for his enemies. His pain was an act of salvation for the very same people who were causing it. And this verse from the New Testament just crystallizes that whole shocking idea. It's a love that isn't based on whether we deserve it. In fact, it's a love that's given precisely when we don't deserve it, when we're in a state of opposition to God. So all of this, it centers on one core, kind of mind-bending idea, that the all-powerful, eternal creator of the entire universe would not only see our pain, but would willingly choose to enter into it and experience human sorrow for himself. Just think back to David's words again. The creator of sight allows his own eyes to grow dim with grief. The source of all strength allows himself to become weary. This isn't a sign of weakness at all. It's the ultimate demonstration of a love so deep, it's willing to fully enter into our brokenness.
And the ultimate takeaway is this incredible concept called the Great Exchange. God doesn't just hear our cries and feel bad for us. He dives in, acts decisively, and takes our sorrow on himself so we can have his joy. He endures our pain so we can have peace, and he faces death so we can have eternal life.
And so, that's what we're left with. David's raw, human cry of pain ends up pointing us to a divine love so profound that it would weep and suffer and die, not for its friends, but for its enemies. So the question is, what does it really mean to be loved like that?